honk, hee honk. Yo, what's going on, Hero Clash? Welcome back to a brand new special video. Yes, the updated tier list is here. Oh man, and I'm gonna be honest, I took a little quick sneak peek, and well, you're gonna have to wait to hear my opinion at the end of the video. So I highly recommend watch the whole video, and then after you do, in the comments below, make sure you let me know what your opinion is about this brand new tier list. So before we go over the whole tier list, I do want to give you guys some background information just to understand where it comes from. The moderation team reached out to me. Agostini from the moderation team reached out to me and says, hey Trin, we have a brand new tier list. However, here is some new information that I think is very valuable. And I would agree. So the previous tier list was only created between 3 people, and you really can't get the community value, the moderation value just by 3 people. So they decided to change gears and adapt. That's what I love to see. Adapt, improvise, overcome. It's just that simple. I learned in the military, and it's good to see it also in the civilian world as well. So the tier list created in March was just 3 people, and they put it out there. It actually wasn't bad at all. However, this new one is created by 6 moderators and 10 people from the community, all of different backgrounds and demographics. You know, 5 from the EA, 5 from Asia, ranging from VIP 9 to VIP 17. And they're going to be doing this on a quarterly basis. Just remember this. SAA, okay? For September. So with that being said, let's deep dive into the tier list. Hee honk, hee honk. Okay, starting from the bottom, we have is F tier, which is the weakest and least useful, not worth upgrading. Now, really quick, when they say not worth upgrading for all the new players, it doesn't mean burn the S cards for other heroes. It means take that hero to Eternal, don't put exclusive stones into them. That's what that means. Still take every single hero to Eternal and the Awakening skill, okay? Because of the Essence Mantle Shop. I just want to clear this up because a few people might get confused, especially if you're new, okay? Now, moving to the F tier, we have is Kill Main. Yes, I completely agree. She is absolutely atrocious. She's absolutely fun to pull for S Plus Sunday, but that's probably the best you're going to get from her. Some kicks and giggles, and that's pretty much about it. Moving on to the Scarecrow, I agree. F tier, he's pretty useful in the very beginning Nightfall when you first download the app and play the game and you pull him. He's not bad at all, but as you progress through the game, then he just becomes extremely irrelevant, 100%, okay? Moving on to Renika. Now, this is probably the first hero I would agree and disagree with. She does have a very special property that would push her out of the F tier. However, that's only for PvE. I've been doing some intense tests on all S heroes and S plus heroes, and there is a small strategy with Renika. You could push her up probably DCB tier, depending on if you're PvE or PvP. Also, really quick, when it comes to PvP, PvE, there will be a tier list in the future that breaks down PvE and PvP. So for right now, this is all just one overall, okay? So back to Renika, there is a strategy out there where she's not bad, but I don't think she'll ever get to that, you know, B, A, S, S plus tier. I think it's almost impossible unless the devs, you know, go in there and change her up. I think she'd be better off in the E tier. And yeah, so moving on to the Unicorn, the way the game's going, just straight up F tier. Don't even need to go over it. Moving on to the chick with the pink can. I don't even know her name. Just F tier. We're going to blow through this real fast. And then Ellie, the boxer, F tier, 100%. And then when it comes to the final hero in the F tier we have is the werewolf. Yeah, he's garbage, sorry. And yeah, so, you know, for those players who are brand new, you will be using these heroes to, you know, rank up. But as soon as you get Alvarez and, you know, other heroes, then these heroes will fade into the past, okay? Moving on to E, letter E, we have is weak and not very useful, may support early game players, but not reliable for experienced players. Yes, I like that description, not gonna lie. Amber, stay true to your faith. I agree, he's pretty useful because I'm pretty sure he provides an attack buff when he uses his ulti or basic, one of the two. And I agree. He's good in the beginning, but as you get more experience and rank up, just, you know. Moving on to the vampire, same thing. You have the Toad. I know in PvE, a lot of people don't like the Toad because he explodes. However, very easy to get past him. And it would be cool if you could make him a PvP character where you can use that explosion to your advantage. And I tried. It's almost impossible. You know, it's just not useful enough. It's not strong enough. So I think E is the perfect category for him. Moving on to Garuda. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably butchering it. Definitely E tier. Like I said, really good in the beginning, but as you rank up your other heroes, straight down the unreliable road. Moving on is Nicole, and I believe I did see a comment on the Facebook page like, oh, why is Nicole E tier? Like, she's really good. Yep, in the beginning, she's great, but as you move up, she is not that great, okay? Moving on to Romano, I would probably put him in the F tier, but yeah. But, you know, between E and F, I think all these heroes, you can have an argument for, right? Moving on to the Sheep. Now, this one's pretty interesting. She does have some CC good old stun capabilities, and when her health drops below 50% and she survives, then she's able to stun the enemy depending on how far you have her ranked up. But I do think it's a great property. However, it's extremely hard to take advantage of because if she gets hit with one big boom, you know, from Phoenix or something, and even if you go down below 50% and die, it does not work. I've tested out probably 100 different times. I even have 9 legendary relics on her to get that 100% stun, and I haven't had one game where she died and the stun worked. She has to survive, and that's her biggest flaw. So unless you want to rock out a maxed out Devil's Vombrace on her, I don't think it's worth it. So definitely E tier. Now, if Hero Clash changed it up to where upon death she had a stunning capability, then I would definitely push her up probably a few tiers. But the fact that she doesn't, it's just, you know, it is what it is. Moving on to Moon Phoenix, E tier. Yeah, just E tier. Now moving on to the D tier, we have is below average, significant weaknesses, outclassed by higher tier heroes, useful mostly in very specific niches. Now I can completely agree with this, and this is where you start to see your very first S+ heroes. The first one is good old Roger. Now he has a great capability where he targets the highest attack and he can stun the highest attack based on debuff, but to use this property on him is extremely difficult. One, you have to get his debuff percentage extremely high, which is extremely hard to do. I've already tried it. And then you have to get the speed up on him. And then you have to give him energy on round 1. You see, there's so many moving pieces with him. It's just not worth it. It's really not. Moving on to Marissa. I agree. I think she's only good for probably one purpose, and that's PvE when it comes to certain game modes. However, I think D tier is perfect for these two heroes. Moving on to our first S+ hero, the chick with the purple thingies floating around, and I forget her name already. Yeah, I forgot. The game loves feeding her to me when it comes to the red faction scrolls. It is what it is. At least we get a good laugh out of her, right? Moving on to Reyna, definitely D tier. You know, she does have some CC properties where she's able to disarm the enemy team. However, when it comes to disarm, it's just, it requires too much to take advantage of her disarming capabilities. And when it comes to disarm, the difference between disarm and everyone else and everything else is the enemy team is still able to use skills, but they can't use basic attacks, right? However, it doesn't matter about passive. You know, I tried to use her against Sophia, but Sophia's passive still activates, but not her basic. So when it comes to the 3 types of attacks, you have basic, passive, and skill. Make sure you know the difference and etc., right? Same with Geo, which we'll talk about in the future, okay? Moving on to the Slife douche, whatever he says, Slife, I don't know. Kind of atrocious because his ability is actually based off a debuff. Everything I'm saying now has been 100% cleared with Hero Clash, the Hero Clash Denise. So I'm not saying they're 100% accurate, but all my information I'm talking about in this video is coming from them. So when I say, you know, X, Y, and Z, it's because it's coming from Hero Clash as well and testing it out in the game, right? And his little slashing thing, I'm pretty sure decreases the attack of the hero he's hitting by a certain percent. I believe it's like, what, 30, 50% or whatever? I'm not sure. But that is also based off a debuff as well, according to Hero Clash, and that's what makes him so trash. If it wasn't based off a debuff, I think that would be the move, and I think he'd probably be 1 or 2 higher, probably in the C tier, but, you know, is what it is. Moving on to the Pokeball, we already know he's absolutely garbage, and he disables shields with his marks, but I'm pretty sure you have to get 3 marks on an enemy from him, and it's just not going to happen. To get 3 marks on someone, it takes a lot of luck, or you have to push the game going round 2, round 3, round 4, and by the time that happens, you're probably going to be obliterated from, you know, all the other great heroes up top. So there really is no good strategy for him, and it is what it is, you know, so that's why he's in the D tier. Moving up to the C tier, here we go, baby. Average, some strengths and notable weaknesses. Not the best in high-level play, but viable in certain situations. I completely agree, but what I see. But first we have is Callisto, the girl with the wolf. 100% not bad at all. Then we go over to Andal. Now, I probably would push Andal between C and B because he does have one main property that I think is absolutely amazing. Besides buffing his teammates with attack and armor, he also has a property where if his HP drops below 50%, he heals his whole team. That can definitely be taken advantage of. And on top of that, everyone is immune to being, you know, stunned the whole round when it drops below 50%. So I'm giving some spoilers for those who love to CC people. So I think C tier is absolutely phenomenal. Moving on to the wisdom of the mushroom surprises you. I think C tier is actually pretty fair. I actually thought he was pretty garbage at first, but then when you build him and you see how he maneuvers, he does dodge a lot, you know. And it would be interesting to, you know, max him out and put Holy Wings on him with the ecosystem. So you have 2 Holy Wings, that'd be 41% dodge plus whatever he does. And pretty interesting, not gonna lie. However, I'm not testing that out. We'll see in the future. Moving on to our next S plus hero we have is Cecina, and I think C tier is absolutely a phenomenal choice. And here's why. Her debuff capability, aka the charm, is great, especially when you have her at level 30 where you get that 100% charm for 1 turn on 1 enemy on round 1, right? But that's pretty much all she's good for. You know, attack wise, garbage, you know, just she's only good for that debuff, and just that's it, you know. And then same's gonna go for good old Deep Terror. I'm pretty sure her name is Deep Terror. The octopus, same thing, you know, good at debuffing, get the petrify, you know, they turn into stone and all that stuff for 2 turns. Outside of that, I think C tier is perfect for them. Moving on to another S plus hero, I forget her name, and yeah, I can't really comment on her. I think she's probably the hero I know least on, but I do remember my reaction when I did read her and when she did come out, and I thought, wow, she is garbage. So definitely C tier and below. Moving on to Chalky. So now a lot of people in the community are like, oh, why is Chalky C tier, blah, blah, blah. And Chalky is absolutely phenomenal for the beginning and the middle of the game, but as you unlock more S plus heroes, then Chalky's is slowly going to go down that road of irrelevancy. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, I wish Hero Clash would create S heroes that could, you know, be up there in the B, the A, the S, S plus tier zone, but they just don't. You know, it is what it is. Moving on to the average, above average, B tier. Above average, effective in specific scenarios or with the right team support. Some weaknesses, but still good. I completely agree. And Avilia's gonna get replaced. Woo! And I'm gonna put that new hero in the A tier. You could argue, actually, no, I'll put the new hero in S tier, but the new hero isn't in this because she hasn't been formally released yet. But based on what I'm reading, we'll get to that later. Anyways, Avelia, definitely B tier. Now, you could make a small argument for A tier, but her main priority isn't even the rings. It's you're getting that 25% increase in attack and that 25 speed. If you have 9 legendary relics, then you're getting 30% attack and 30 speed, which is absolutely phenomenal. However, like I said about 30 seconds ago, she's getting replaced by the new God hero coming out in July. So Get ready. Get them faction tokens ready. I know I can't wait. Now moving on to good old, is that Lilandra? Is that her? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yo, some of these screenshots of the faces are kind of funny, not gonna lie. Let's see. So yeah, you could argue Lilandra on C tier, to be honest. You know, between C and B, 100%. Moving on to Silsa, B tier, extremely effective when it comes to her entanglement. Y'all already know Silsa is probably the only S hero I recommend maxing out. Yes, now from a free-to-play perspective, where maxing out stones is kind of hard because 300 for an S hero, when you can take 300 and put into an S plus hero, it's kind of hard to do. And even for my free-to-play account, I still don't have her at level 30. I don't think I will do it because I think those stones are better off in an S plus hero. But for the people who are pay to play, definitely take her to 30. You know, it's only 300 stones. And yeah, so she's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, moving on to good old Crystal. She has some similar properties of stunning, and which is also based off of speed. And every time I go against her, I swear, dude, half my team gets stunned going against her. So I'm actually building her right now for free, you know. And we'll see what happens on my pay-to-play account. But definitely B tier as of right now. There's really no good strategies currently that would push her into the A/S zone. Okay. Moving on to the guy with the dragon. B tier. Yeah, I think he's good, but there's no average scenarios where it's like, oh, I need him. Yes. I completely agree with the description of B tier. Specific scenarios that are effective. 100%. Now moving on to good old Dragonic. And this makes me so sad because, well, it's so true. I wish Dragonic, they would make him better to put him in the A or S tier zone, but, you know, it is what it is. It's so unfortunate. But moving on to Denise, we have in the B tier, only because, you know, every time she does a basic, she's able to increase the attack and speed of her allies, which is absolutely phenomenal, you know, especially when you put Samurai on her. You know, you get that triggered, you know, you're getting 2 of them in one. So now moving on to Mafalda. This is a hard one. However, the description of B tier is perfect for her. I was thinking more of a C tier, but I can see her between C and B because she's able to revive 2 players. She's able to revive 2 heroes, or 3 if you have her maxed out with 9 legendary relics. However, it's extremely hard because you have heroes that, you know, stop her, like souls. You can't revive. And then you have other heroes that shoot through her invincibility when she drops below a certain percentage of HP, which makes her more unuseful. But moving on to the next we have is good old Merciful Tree Spirit. Let's go. I only follow the sun. Oh, man. B tier is absolutely phenomenal for her because not only does she increase the crit rate of certain heroes, or all heroes, depending on where she's maxed out at, she also increases the attack and skill damage, aka with 9 legendary relics. And you could definitely use that in specific scenarios where it's an actual good strategy, right? So I think B tier is perfect for her. Moving on to good old Knight of Rebirth, the chick on a horse. B tier, 100%. Moving on to the Voider. The first Voider of B tier is, bro, what is her name? Dude, no, I'm drawing a blank. B tier. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, man. And the final B tier hero is good old Dream. And I agree. The reason why I agree with B tier is because there are certain specific scenarios that she absolutely slaps on. She's even part of my anti-Exodia team, and it does work. Sometimes I destroy Exodia, and Dream is part of that team. However, there's a lot put into her to have a good percentage of accomplishing that, right? However, I think she would only be in B tier. I wouldn't put her in A, and I wouldn't put her in C at all, okay? Moving on to A tier. I know y'all are here for the A and S and S+. I already know. Moving on to A tier, we have is strong and reliable, solid abilities, effective in most scenarios, but may require some resources to maximize potential. Our first hero is good old Life. I really can't speak on her too much because every time I use her, it's in Skyland Realm, but she's kind of the side hero just to get that HP and revive strategy. So I really can't comment on her too much. However, I would probably place her in... man, I can't say... I could see her floating between A and B tier, right? Moving on to Fagin. Whew, man, there's a lot of heroes. Jeez, I might need to take a break. Get some water. Moving on to Fagin, 100% A tier. Yeah, that screenshot of him is hilarious. It kind of reminds me of like when you catch a raccoon at night digging in your garbage. That's what he looks like in this photo. I would definitely say Fagin is A tier. Pretty much Fagin is able to provide shields and absorb some damage when linked with the strongest heroes on your side of the field. So I would definitely put him in A tier. Yeah, I think that's a great choice. Moving on to good old GOT Thunder. A tier is extremely interesting. You could make a small argument for S tier. However, based on the new heroes coming out, I think the A tier right now is appropriate, right? When he's maxed out, he's able to debuff, aka stun someone with a 100% accuracy, you know, with debuff and debuff resistance calculated. It never fails for me, though. Then again, I have the maxed out Devil's Fang and stuff on him, so, you know, 142% debuff hit. And he's not even Eternal yet, too. So imagine when I get him to Eternal and put on the debuff talent, you know what you're saying. But it's only one enemy hero for one turn, so it's not bad. However, with different artifacts on him, like Dragon Skill, you know, and when he's maxed out is absolutely phenomenal as well. So based on my experience, I would definitely put him in the A tier. Moving on to Ocean Princess. Now, actually, I maxed out Ocean Princess just for fun about a week ago. I don't know, for those who are paying attention to my account, there's some of you who just look at my account every single day and make decisions. You've probably seen that I completely maxed her out. I'm talking, except for the relics, I had all 5-star gems on her. I had her, you know, gear skill level 40, you know, the best armor on her, and even I tried to find a great combination to where she would be relevant against the current meta, and I just couldn't find it. You know, at the end of round 1 when she's doing her wave, even feeding energy from Dragon Skill into her from Selena, it still wasn't good enough. I was doing 10-20 million damage per hero. However, if you're able to create a team that can go to round 3, round 4, round 5, she is your girl. Just saying, this is the princess right here, but there's just no viable strategy in Hero Clash that allows you to go to round 3, round 4, round 5 against this current meta. And I'll be explaining this at the end of this video when we get to the S+ tier. It's going to make perfect sense. You'll see it. However, A tier is absolutely phenomenal for her. You could argue B tier, but I would probably slap her in A because I do have actual experience with her. Okay, and then yes, I use the Time Essence Potion to downgrade her and get those stones back. So yeah, okay. Moving on to good old Firefox. I think she falls into the same category. You know, she's just one of those heroes you have to, you know, go round 2, round 3, round 4 because some of her abilities rely on the enemy to take action, etc. So, you know, I think she's in the same category as Ocean Princess. Obviously different, you know, talents or different attacks and different skills, but they're still on the same cruise ship, right? Same boat. Moving on to Paideia. Yeah, I think she's a great defensive hero. She provides attack and shields to the heroes next to her. However, Hero Clash is all about that attack, so it just really takes away from her. And same goes for the rest of these defensive heroes that's coming out, especially Irene. I think Irene's absolutely amazing, but you have to go round 3, round 4, round 5. I think I did the math on it. In a perfect game with Irene, I'm pretty sure you have to get to the end of round 3 or the beginning of round 4 to get all her truths converted. It's something like that. Don't quote me on this. You can read it yourself, but her conversion between her abilities, I'm pretty sure you have to go like 3 or 4 rounds just to get the full potential, and well, the game doesn't allow that on average when it comes to the current meta. Okay, Moving on to Andrew. I do think he's a solid hero, and he does provide, I think is what, the darkness thingy when he's at gear skill level 30. He's able to share that ability with his teammates. However, A tier, 100% A tier. Moving on to Alvarez. Now, I already know a lot of people are going to be mad about this one. If we were judging her new look, I'd give her an F tier. But again, I completely agree. Alvarez is extremely useful from the beginning of the game all the way you're climbing that Hero Clash pyramid. I'd say you get about 90% of the way up. You know, you got Sophia getting worked on. You have Natalie being worked on, the Phoenix being worked on. Then Alvarez slowly falls down, and I think she falls into that A category. Moving on to good old Monica. Now, I think this is probably the only hero as of right now I would probably slap into the B tier. I don't think she's that good. However, again, I can't really judge her because I haven't maxed her out, and I don't think I will max her out. But again, where the game's going, you know, yeah. So moving on to S tier, we have is extremely strong and very useful in various situations. Can carry games and or vital to team success. Yes. Now on the bottom of the S tier, I would definitely put Void Moth there, because while she's good, she's not great. And again, the game doesn't allow her to be great because there's just so much attack. And she's a good defensive hero, but you can easily wipe her out, which takes from her potential. But I think as of right now, S tier is fair for her, right? Moving on to, oh man, I like Ruth Cave, yo. Ruth Cave, or Ruth Carve, or Cave, whatever his name is. I don't know. Big dude with the shield, yo. He's one of my favorite defensive heroes. S tier 100%. He's not OP, but he's one of those heroes that has a very, very crucial, strong ability. And if you max him to gear skill level 30, Gate Overlord provides protection for 2 heroes in the back row when he's in the front row, right? So he's going to absorb some of that damage. However, when a back row hero that is with the protection link takes lethal damage, he cuts all ties and establishes a Lionheart connection, which means he absorbs 100% of the damage for that hero. However, if the second hero takes lethal damage, he'll break that Lionheart and go to that hero. I've tested him out probably like 500 times with, you know, different top secret strategies with him, and there are some inconsistencies. However, he is definitely S tier, and I definitely recommend building him over Fagin 100%. If you get the opportunities, like example, if you get an S plus card and it's between Fagin and him, I'd probably choose him, just saying, you know, or which one you have higher. But yeah, he's a beast. I like him so much. Moving on to the next here, we have is good old the Fist God Chick Wilderness. Absolutely phenomenal, providing shields. However, I have to say it again, the game is all about attack, so it makes her just not that useful. However, when you equip maxed out Devil's Flag on her or on the team, it's absolutely phenomenal, but still able to get destroyed by team 2 or a good team 1, etc. So if we can get more good defensive heroes, then all these heroes I'm mentioning will get a huge buff. And if Hero Clash releases some good defensive heroes in the next 3 to 6 months, I guarantee this list is going to change 100%. Right? Moving on to Olila S tier, I agree. Now you could argue A tier for her as well. As the game moves on, it's been a year since she's been released almost, and I just feel like she's becoming more irrelevant as time goes on. And it's unfortunate, and I'll talk about that when we get to the S plus tier as well. So definitely S tier or A tier. And yeah. Moving on to good old Natalie. My girl Natalie. Let's go, baby. S tier 100%. She slap on Holy Wings on her with a good supportive team debuff up on front, aka Silsa. And she is part of the team that can slaughter Exodia. Let me rephrase this. When I say slaughter Exodia, I'm talking 10, 20, 30, 40% chance. There's still a 50, 60, 70% chance she will get slaughtered by Exodia. It goes back and forth. Okay, so I don't want people to be like, yo, Trinity created the top secret and he cracked the code to Exodia. No. I created a team that can beat Exodia with a decent percentage to gamble with, okay? Now moving on to good old Phoenix, good old S tier, baby. And I agree. I would never put her in the S plus tier because of who's in the S plus tier. However, Phoenix is who is my all-time favorite hero. My top 3 would be Phoenix, Natalie, and I don't know, Sophia. Yeah. We'll get to her. Moving on to good old Selena, baby. This video is long, but I'm having fun. Let's go, Selena. Level 30. When it comes to the gear skill, you get that Soul Link. When the game starts, 100% crucial. Just saying, it pretty much just minuses out one attack. You know, and if there's heroes that do multiple attacks like Sophia or Porcelina, then, you know, you're still minusing out one of those, right? So, yeah, definitely S tier. She's my all-time favorite defensive hero alongside Ruthkarv, right? Moving on to good old Sparta. Sparta in the S tier. At first, I probably would have slapped them in the A tier, but since it seems like the game is going towards Sparta, you know, Sage, Assault, I could definitely slap him in the S tier. Now, it all comes down to PvE versus PvP. Now, if it was PvE, he's S plus 100%, just saying. Sparta's good, but he's not great, right? He has too many flaws, and Sophia counters him. However, that's because of Hero Clash. It is what it is. So, when it comes to PvE, definitely S plus tier, but when it comes to PvP, I would probably slap him in the A tier. Like I said, you can make a small argument for S tier if he's maxed out and you have Sage and Assault, etc. Then yeah, of course. But to get him to that level it pretty much requires to max him out 100%. So I definitely agree with S tier or A tier. Moving on to Geo. Okay, so Geo is my all-time favorite passive ability type hero because he slaughters. He's one of those heroes that can take out a whole team. I've witnessed it 100%. That boomerang nonsense. He can be stunned and still use his boomerang. Just saying. I witnessed it multiple times. So Geo, 100% S tier, phenomenal choice. Moving on to Reincarnation, S tier. Moving on to the Twins. In certain situations, S tier, but I think the Twins would probably be more in the A tier because when you get to those, you know, a maxed out Team 1, you really don't see the Twins anywhere. So I would probably put the Twins more towards the bottom of S tier, kind of leaning into the A tier. And yeah. And then same goes for Souls. He's great. He minuses speed and attack off the enemy, which is extremely crucial. I think he's like only one of the few heroes that does that. So we need more of those properties in the game for the future 2025 and new properties. I would definitely slap him in the S tier. Now moving on to good old S plus tier. I already know y'all are here for that. Whoo, man, all these heroes. There's a lot of heroes. S plus tier. Game changers. Overwhelmingly powerful and offer unmatched utility. Yes, couldn't have said it any better. Porcelina. You know what? We're going to skip Porcelina and go to Sophia. Sophia, 100%. Now, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I've talked about how Sophia is extremely OP and is the main counter for Sparta because Hero Clash with Devil's Vamprace, Assault, and then they had to release Sophia to counter that, and now we're in this counter versus counter game. So Sophia, 100% S plus, and I do hear that she's getting a buff soon. I guess in the Chinese servers she got a buff, so they might trickle down to us in the EA and Asia servers that she's gonna get a buff. Yes, let's go. And Sophia slaughters Porcelina on average, from my tests at least. However, using Porcelina in the correct way, she also does slaughter as well. I would say definitely both heroes deserve S plus, unmatched utility. And when it comes to Porcelina, we actually talked about this in the previous video, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse again when it comes there. Just give y'all the cliff notes. I think she's absolutely phenomenal and overpowered in a unmatched, childish way because she counters just main strategies, it was like Hero Clash sat around the table and said, hey, what is the meta for Hero Clash this year? And they're like, okay, so the meta is CC, invincibility when it comes to Devil's Vombrace, or, you know, the Phoenix invincibility, or Mafalda, or, you know, whatever, etc. And then they're like, you know what? Let's give all the counters to poor Selena. And, well, it worked. Yeah. She has all the counters, and, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I don't want to be a dead horse. And do you notice anything? Both of these heroes in the S+ tier are attack, attack, attack. Armor pen, armor pen, armor pen. Speed, speed, speed. Hero Clash devs, you know, the ones who are in control, the ones who make the decisions when it comes to which heroes come next. Why isn't there any defensive S+ heroes? That's what we need. Defensive S+ heroes where we think, wow, this defense hero is OP, shields for days, or dodge for days, or something. Something new needs to happen. But I don't want to make this video about the devs or who's in charge. And one thing I do want to say about the moderation team and everyone who contributed to this is this tier list is absolutely phenomenal. It's perfect. I would say it's perfect. Now, anyone can make an argument about the little, you know, pieces and little details of, oh, that hero should be one up or one down. Cool. But there's not one hero on here where I would be like, yo, that D tier hero needs to be in the A tier. There's not. So what the moderation team did is absolutely legendary. And I thank you guys for this. And I really appreciate how you guys went to the different demographics, different walks of life, different perspectives from every angle. That's how you adapt, improvise, and overcome. And to end this video, Hero Clash devs and the ones in charge, take notes. They did a great job.